Has someone ever told you to do something and you don't want to do it and you instead rebel against it? Maybe you do that because you feel that that person doesn't have the authority or the respect or credibility to tell you what to do. But that's not the case with Jesus. In this chapter, Jesus has authority over everything, and he shows us. He shows us by healing the sick, healing the demon-possessed men. He healed Peter's mother-in-law as well. He healed a lot of people. I think in verse, I'm not sure, I think verse 15, it says, he took up our infirmities and bore our disease. Because Jesus is going around healing everybody. And it's interesting that the first two examples that we see of healing are, well, the first one's pretty common, but the second one, the one with the centurion. A centurion is a Roman emperor, well, not a Roman emperor, but a Roman soldier who commands 100 men or so. He has a servant who's sick and he needs him. He's dependent on him his whole life, and now he has to depend on Jesus to heal his servant. And so he asks Jesus to heal him. And Jesus says, yes, let us go, because I am willing. The centurion says, I am not worthy to have you under my roof. Just say the word, and my servant will be healed. But this centurion understood a thing or two about faith. He knew who Jesus was and how powerful his authority was. So powerful that he just had to speak and things would be done, much like we see in Genesis when God spoke and there was light. So the centurion knows that all Jesus has to do is claim or proclaim healing over his servant for it to be done. And he understands this because the centurion is a man under authority as well. He has 100 men under his authority. So he understands how authority works. Because of this, Jesus admires him and tells his followers that they need to have faith like the centurion. That the centurion he's the most faithful person he's seen in his ministry. So we need to be a little bit more faithful and realize that when we depend on Jesus, he is willing to take up our burdens, our worries, any disaster. But we have to know who Jesus is to be able to feel comfort in trusting him and having faith. And in chapter 8, we see that his disciples and even, well, the people around him don't really know who he is. They know that he's teaching and that he's claiming to be the Son of God, but they don't realize that God is with him in the flesh. And God has authority over everything. Everything. We see this when Jesus calms the storm. After he tells a few wannabe followers that the path to following him comes with sacrifice. I'll explain this. A man comes up to Jesus and says, Lord, I will follow you. Just let me bury my dad first, or let my dad die so I can bury him. Another one says, I will follow you, but to the ends of earth or something. And Jesus lets them know, like, hey, you guys might be excited and this is cool and all, but you have to realize that following me, we're not going to sleep in nice hotel beds. We're not going to have meals given to us. It's going to be hard. It's going to require sacrifice. And after that, his disciples and him go on a boat. after, I guess not many people decide they really want to follow him. And in this boat, Jesus is asleep while there's a storm rocking the boat. And it's a pretty violent storm. The disciples are fearful. They think they're going to drown, that the boat's going to collapse and sink. And so they wake Jesus up and, all scared. And Jesus rebukes them, saying, "Why do you have little faith?" And he calms the storm, showing the disciples that he even had authority over the weather, over the environment. And the disciples are bewildered. They knew this is the Son of God, but they don't really know what that means. They can't see into the future, so they don't know that Jesus is gonna come back from the dead, and they just don't know yet. They know, but they're not sure. And this is an issue because a lot of us do this. In the last part of the chapter, when Jesus gets to land, and even though his disciples don't really know who Jesus is at this point, the demon-possessed men who see Jesus coming to them do recognize him. They recognize him as a son of God, and they get scared. They don't want to be tortured before the appointed time. And so they beg Jesus to cast them into some pigs. And, well, Jesus does. And the pigs fall off a cliff. And the issue here is that the people who own these pigs, the Jews in this area that watched this whole spectacle, they don't really know who Jesus is. They saw that he just did something miraculous and healed the demon-possessed men, but they don't realize that Jesus forgives and Jesus accepts the leper, the unclean woman, he heals everything. He I forgot what verse it is, but he took up our infirmities and bore our disease. And they didn't see that. And so the Jews who just saw that Jesus cast the demons out to the pigs are fearful, for the law says that pigs are unclean animals and shall not be owned. So they're in sin. Jesus has caught these Jewish people in sin. But that's okay, because we've seen that Jesus accepts even the lowest. And it's very apparent that they missed their chance at salvation and redemption, forgiveness, because the town tells Jesus to leave. They reject him. They send him on his way, and they miss their chance at salvation. Jesus would have forgave him. Jesus might have been mad because he has authority that they owned these pigs, but that wouldn't have, condemned them to eternity in hell. Jesus forgives, and Jesus has authority over all things because he is God. He is the Son of God. So what are we doing with our faith? Are we putting our faith in something we truly understand? Do we really know who Jesus is and what he's capable of? I think we have an idea for sure, but I think everyone's personal relationship with Jesus can grow, and we can know him a little bit better. The more we know him, the more we know of his word, the more secure our faith will be. It'll be unshakable because we will know who Jesus is and how he has authority over any situation. I can't stress this enough. But do you guys know Jesus? Truly. Do you really know what he is, what he stands for, what he taught? I invite you to open the Bible, continue reading, look up different videos, just get to know who God is, who Jesus is, and invite him in your heart, in your life. I think I said enough already. I'm at work now, so peace. Love you guys.